Hello, everyone. It's Pastor Smith, and we have a devotion today from right in the middle of 1 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 8, and the heading is Food Offered to Idols. I don't think that this is a topic that we worry about very often. You know, does someone in your family bring home some meat, and you're like, wait a minute, was that sacrificed to an idol or not? You know, it doesn't really happen. But in the Bible times, these things did happen, and there are some things we can learn and understand from this example that carry over into other parts of our lives. So remember in the Old Testament, the Levites, the priests, they would actually get to eat the meat that was sacrificed to God. That was like a way that they were cared for. They had some food because that was their job all the time, was to be the priests of God. Well, in the same way that God's people would make animal sacrifices to Him, other cultures began also offering animal sacrifice to please their gods. Gods, lowercase g gods. And so this was also happening in Corinth. And it was an issue because those who were being discipled to follow Jesus, they were learning that, all these other gods, these idols, they're not real. We know that it's just the triune God, and who reveals himself in Christ. And Paul is teaching them along those lines. But Paul says, be careful that you're not puffed up by the knowledge that you have. Maybe you or someone close to you is a actually person. Have you ever actually'd someone? It's like when you correct them, and you're so full of knowledge that you're bursting at the seams. You must correct people because God forbid that they ever go through their life having something a little bit wrong. Some of us are plagued by the actually syndrome. I think Paul's calling them out here, the Corinthians, for having this. He says, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. So are our interactions with other people, are they motivated more by showing our great knowledge, or are we motivated more by our love to build up one another? So the Corinthian Christians maybe were eating the food sacrificed to idols because they knew these idols aren't real and it's just normal food. We can eat that. But what if there were some brand new Christians or people kind of curious about the Christian faith, and they see people eating this food? What should the Christians' response be? Well, they could actually people and make them feel, they could insult them, make them feel dumb for not knowing that this meat was not sacrificed to actual false gods or something. But if the faith of these new Christians or these kind of on the fence people that are wanting to learn more about Jesus, if their faith is harmed, if they are, as Paul says, if we cause them to stumble, if we destroy the other person, then something is very wrong. Sometimes you can be dead wrong about something. I think Paul's kind of saying, well, even if you're right, though, you can be like dead right. You can be right, but you can be wrong in the way that you're using that knowledge. So don't use knowledge about Jesus, about the Christian faith, to lord it over other people, to make yourself superior to them. There are times where we need to teach patiently and with humble love and care and concern. But there are other times where, big deal, just because you know that you technically can do this thing. Should you? Does it build up another person? Does it build up the Christian community? Well, if it doesn't, then don't do that thing. It's not that important. Is your life going to be ruined because you couldn't eat some kind of meat? No, it's not. So Paul is telling them, the Corinthians, this, and it has application for us today. We should not be puffing ourselves up and being superior to others, but we should be humbly leading others to Jesus. So I pray that God will infuse all of our interactions with other people this week with genuine Christian love, the same kind of love that Paul is calling the Corinthians to here in chapter 8. God's blessings on your week and as you continue reading through 1 Corinthians.